Good morning, watch nerds. Now firstly, allow me to apologise for any reflections you see in the crystal. It does have some AR coating, but I don't think it's got an awful lot. Canopy are a Texas-based microbrand started in 2020, and it's my belief this is their one and only watch. It comes in two options, this stainless steel version or a black DLC coated one. One of the reviews I watched said it was Swiss made, but I can't see anything on their website to indicate this is the case, and anyway, I'm not really sure if it matters these days, although it does add some financial premium to a watch. Now on the subject of money, this watch was originally meant to sell for $1,000, although I suspect nobody actually paid that. Now it was initially on offer for $750, although it's now on sale for $599 or £480. Now after watching this video you'll probably agree that's a real bargain. Now of course don't forget to add any appropriate taxes depending on the country you reside. As a matter of interest, I paid less than £280 for this mint condition used one from an eBay seller, so a big thanks to JC Watch Exchange for doing me such a great price. It should be noted though that although microbrands offer great value, they very rarely offer a decent return. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the Canopy Wake 1. I don't normally like to go on about the box too much, but this is very premium. It's a piano black wooden box. Inside there's a nice cushion, a warranty card that covers you for 2 years, and a cleaning cloth. So as usual, let's start with the dimensions. Now the case is 39mm, although the bezel is a tad larger at 40mm. The lug width is 20mm. The depth is 12.8mm, which includes a double dome sapphire with a little bit of AR coating. And the lug to lug is a compact 46mm, although it does have male end links, which in reality makes the lug to lug just a little bit longer. All the same, this is a nice set of dimensions and the watch wears really well, even on smaller wrists. Now after adjustment for my 17cm wrist, it weighs in at 153 grams. In my opinion, the watch wears the size. Now this is one of the things that makes this watch a bargain. Inside it's got a regulated Sellita SW200-1 movement, which is a Swiss clone of the ETA 2824, and is often used in watches costing many more times than this. It's a 4Hz movement that ticks away at 28,800 beats per hour. It hacks, hand winds, and Canopy claim it's got a power reserve of 41 hours, although I always thought it was 38. These movements are reliable and can be incredibly accurate. I wore this watch for 2 days and believe it or not, it didn't gain or lose a single second. But let's see what the time grapher thinks of it. There we are, this is dialed down, all pretty perfect. A great amplitude, 0 beat error, and a very good rate. The 6.5mm crown screws down to aid its 200 metres of claim water resistance. It isn't just signed, it's got a forged carbon fibre tip to match the bezel, which I'll come to later. It operates the watch as it should do, and the engagement is okay, but it's not buttery smooth. I should also mention that the knurling is executed to an extremely high level. However, there is a little bit of crown wobble. The case is apparently bespoke, not just one that came off the shelf, and needless to say it's made of the industry standard 316L stainless steel, and in my opinion it looks a lot nicer than their black DLC coated version. Now the tops of the lugs are finely brushed, which then lead down to a highly polished chamfer. Now the sides, as you can see, are polished, although if it were down to me I would have had them lightly brushed. It's so nicely shaped though, it looks as if it was moulded to fit the back of my wrist. I'm not the greatest lover of exhibition casebacks on divers, but they don't offend me either. At least this one's made of sapphire, and you can see the custom made rotor through it, another nice touch I may add. Around the outside is some basic information. And you can see this is number 240 of 250. Now the case back screws down with 6 separate screws, rather than screwing down, if you see what I mean. That's fine of course, unless you lose one of the screws. The bezel is the watch's star of the show, and it's something to behold. There is a lume forged carbon insert which isn't just very scratch resistant, it looks amazing. Now it's got a 120 click unidirectional action, which is fantastic, mainly because it sits on ceramic bearings. Again, no expense spared here. It all lines up perfectly, is wonderfully easy to use, and the resistance is just about perfect. Now let's have a little listen. I would describe the dial as tasteful and classy, although it may not knock you off with your feet. It's got a black sand texture finish with Canopy printed under the 12 index and Wake 1 above the frame date window along with the water resistance. Now I particularly like the use of the triangle at 12, which is a mirror image of the triangle on the bezel, and I also like the red tip to the dark second hand, especially as the rest of the dial is relatively sedate. Now the remainder of the stick type indices as well as the fence post hands are filled with C1 lume. C1 lume isn't the brightest lume in the world, but suits vintage type divers. Unfortunately though, they didn't use much of it, so in all honesty it doesn't last very long, and I would consider it one of the watch's weaknesses. The bracelet on this watch is marvellous, and I don't say that lightly, and it's so comfortable, especially as the links are so nicely rounded, if you understand what I mean. I suppose it's a type of oyster bracelet, although the links are a little bit smaller. It tapers down from 20mm to 18mm, then back up to 20mm for the clasp. It's mainly brushed, although the sides and the ends of each link are polished. Now the well-fitting solid end links are male, but unfortunately it doesn't have quick release spring bars. Although with a bracelet like this I wouldn't change it for a strap anyway. Now for convenience, the links are held together with very well engineered screw pins, making adjustment for this bracelet a piece of cake. So let's have a look at the clasp. Well, it's nicely brushed and it's signed, it's well engineered, it's all fully milled, and it has this diver's extension. The only problem is if you use the diver's extension as a micro adjust, it does look a tad ugly. I must say I think I prefer the clasp on the new San Martins or Christopher Ward. All that said, I would give this bracelet and clasp probably a 9 out of 10. So what do I think of the Canopy Wake 1? Which by the way, I don't particularly like the name of. Well, I'll start off by saying for £480 or $599, it's an incredible bargain. Okay, the lume isn't the best. The crown is a tad wobbly, and I would have preferred brushed sides. But none of these are deal breakers. The presentation box is amazing, and I don't normally make a big thing about packaging. The bezel is out of this world, the bracelet and clasp are top notch, and of course it's got that regulated Swiss movement. Honestly, if you're looking for a nice dive watch and this is in your price range, I'd just go out and buy one. Now here lies a lesson for anyone considering starting a micro brand. The intention, I presume, was to sell these watches for $1,000 each, and the owners bought 500 pieces. As good as this watch is, few people will part with $1,000 for a brand that isn't tried and tested, let alone 500 people. So that brings me to the end of this review. If you've enjoyed it, click on the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below and enjoy the rest of your day.